walked in, I was like, oh man.
I think I'm past the point where it was repeating before, so I think we're okay. I don't know why it just works itself out or what, so.
Maybe it was just glitching. I was on there trying to download it and stuff like that too, so.
Got it.
Maybe it was messing with it, who knows.
Yeah, I talked to Ryan.
Okay.
At 4 o'clock, I talked to Ryan. But I'm not going to, other than I'm going to say that I did talk to him, so we can discuss that. That's on it.
Oh, okay.
We can discuss it a little bit. And an update is all I can give, so I don't know, do we want to do that at all? No? Okay.
I don't think so, because I told Max not to do it. But,
Okay, and that works for me.
So Alyssa's been at my house for 2 nights in a row helping me with my email. The first night he just dropped off the stuff. Today he came over to do it. And I'm like, I bet my neighborhood is just like, just, yeah, right? I know. When he came over last time, I'm like, oh thank God Bob is home. Because that would have been our first assumption.
I couldn't get my Wi-Fi to work when I first bought the house, and he came over, and I thought, oh, here we
Right,
go.
exactly. Neighbor.
All right, Janan's not here.
I'm also gonna be checking my daughter was in a major surgery today, so.
Oh, all right.
Anyway, so she's,
Yeah.
I get updates from her. She's out of surgery, but.
Have to be here.
Who's in there with her, do you know? I didn't see who it was.
Brandy, I think, came in. They talked earlier, maybe, and. Can we go ahead and call it to order, get things going, please? All right. Call to order, approve the agenda. Do we want to amend the agenda at all?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment of getting rid of the last line there, highlighted in yellow, related to the Pocahontas Travel Club and cemetery issue.
All right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
I need to get my papers. Sorry. Second, all in favor, aye. Whatever else I'm supposed to say. It's been a long week. Elections have just been a mess. Anyway, okay. Citizens' opportunity to address the council. Do we have any citizens that want to be here? No. Let's move on. Discussion of possible action regarding city administrator transition planning, assignment of responsibilities, delegation of duties, access to city systems, and continuity of operations. We need from Laura Holmes, we are going to need some kind of transition paperwork.
Okay.
We need passwords, we need access to anything and everything.
Some I can't give because they're state websites, you have to have.
Right,
your own.
like department management, the new person will have to
Yeah.
set themselves up, I get that, but anything else that is password protected that you have, we will need that by 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay.
Anybody, anything else?
I think, so just kind of an overview, Kim, Christy and I met on Tuesday night to discuss the hiring process, which, you know, that whole, meeting will come into play in the various lines here coming up. The thought of putting this line before appointing make sure we have that discussion that we kind of started on Monday about who's kind of gonna help where and what we're gonna ask of the individuals that we ask to step in, just so that we're kind of knowing what we're doing and the departments and the city actors know who they're reaching out to for their various situations as well. So I threw together, I had sent kind of a transition document that I put together with the help of the league and just things that I know off the top of my head, the day after we got Laura's resignation, and forwarded it off to her just so that we could all be under the understanding and add to it as needed. I kind of turned that task list into two different options here, with like breakdowns of things that I knew kind of needed to be covered in the interim, and then the second document being in various discussions who's stepping into what roles would maybe kind of take those over. Obviously these are all fluid and we're just kind of a jumping point for us to be able to have that discussion. But based off of kind of our talk on Tuesday, this is what we recommended that kind of look like, and then also what other people have kind of with the league and different individuals where various people could step in and help out. So again, there's certain things that like a person just has to do given the role that they have, that there's not really any negotiation on that. But there's also stuff that again is fluid and up for discussion here.
Well, these questions,
And we're looking at the,
So these are literally identical, they're just set up differently.
Got it.
So this is like a
Yes.
list of
Yes.
things, and this is a suggestion of who steps in and
yes.
covers them, basically. I think based on our discussion as a high level overview, our idea was, or our recommendation was going to be to the council to appoint Janan as the interim, and she takes over really the financial logistic side of stuff, and then potentially getting a part-time person in here to be able to help the day-to-day answering phones, answering citizens that come in, being able to receive information and to delegate it out to where it needs to go. And then all of us kind of pitching in whatever capacity we're able to, as far as being point people or covering more of the everyday documentation of like meeting minutes, agendas, stuff like that Janan has the expertise for, but her expertise would be better used for the stuff that we don't have the expertise for.
yeah, for Janan, I'm more concerned about the financials and getting all that done. That's, to me, that should be her first priority.
Your balance through April and starting to work on May.
Of 2026, correct?
Yeah, 2026.
Thank you.
I think, as I look at this, I think it's a great tool for everyone to be able to look at, to kind of like be able to reference back on and say, oh yeah, this is where this is gonna go, and this is where this is gonna go, which is gonna, I would think would be really helpful to many different people, employees, utility bill, or every, you know,
Yep.
not everybody, right?
Yep.
You,
Yep.
everybody, so I think, I really like it, and it's just very well done.
And I mean, there's some things that like, it's just information that really we need to get from Laura on where things stand as far as, you know, project status and what deadlines are coming up as far as grants and
I've been sorting it all out.
stuff like that. I think the key's kind of gone, but the full colored in circles would be like, that would be their primary responsibility. The empty circles are like supporting people needing to step in if that primary person is out, and then dashes are like hands off, nothing to do with.
added Alex to the website and social media. Just because that's his,
Yep.
you know. And then same with the phones and emails, cause he sets all those up. But I mean, other than that, I did add Circle and interim clerk for access to the utility billing system.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, cause Janelle definitely needs to go in there and,
That should have been an open circle there, sorry.
oh, sorry, I just added a dot.
No, yep.
And then payroll system, I put utility staff and interim.
Yeah.
Cause
Derek
Derek,
can tell you.
he knows how to do it. You just have to keep in mind.
Do we need to have any action on this?
I guess we need to formalize if this is what we all agree to, as far as who's taking over. And then on, I think it's the second to last page, there's, again, a table there with some blank information about if we want to have designated points of contact where those people would reach out to you and whoever. And again, there's already some overlap with our committees that are assigned, so insurance could be Cody or Wes, Parks Pool could be me or Wes, I'd take over fire.
Electric.
Yeah, you guys will have electric, so really it's, if that's something we all agree to, and we wanna have just those names automatically down, but really the only ones we need to decide are water, sewer, waste, library. So just- We don't officially have a sheriff's department right now, so I kinda just left that with
We have
like,
Dave.
it'll be, yeah, from Dave, so. Yeah, water slash streets, I suppose.
Yeah. Solid waste.
That's Dave too. That's up under Dave. Yeah.
Okay, so we can kind of probably put that in with that group too, cause it's gonna, any update is gonna come to Dave, and Dave should just really have one person
Yeah, sure.
to go to instead of.
Be easier for him.
What do you think about, we kind of talked through that already, so, what do you think about that point of contact philosophy idea right now?
For the interim.
For the
Only.
interim,
Yeah.
exactly, absolutely.
Once we get someone that feels comfortable managing,
Right.
outside of our committees, it all goes back to.
Right.
It all goes back to the clerk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or anything we're not thinking about or drawbacks?
I think you're okay. There's gonna be TIF that needs to be handled right away. We've already spent 12,000 on the legal side of it, so that paperwork has to get done. The hang up there is you're either gonna have to hire, or not hire, but create a planning and zoning committee or decommission it, one way or the other. Otherwise, the rest of it can't go through, and we're 3/4 of the way done. But because there's only 2 that are willing to be part of that, that's not enough to make any actions for TIF. So I've got Amy and John's numbers. Amy's will wait for a call, but that's where it's at for TIF. That and the 2080 are probably the hot topics right now.
2080 for Lorenz.
Yes.
If you would put that information together and give it to me. I can do TIF because we do TIF in our office at the courthouse, and I can, got it all ready. I can, work on it from that end also. Lorenz 2080, anybody wanna work on that besides me?
Okay, for committee.
28E committee, oh, that's right, I forgot.
Do you wanna just use that committee for police point of contact?
Okay.
What is that called, again, that's
28E.
28E. Sure. Yes, yes, okay.
Would you, filling in so far, and Wes has 4 people.
I'm willing to
So
take.
I'll volunteer for something else.
I'm willing
Yeah.
to take, contact with Dave or whatever. It's just, your guys are with parks, you're gonna kinda have contact too.
Yeah, I can happily
Are you
just cover it.
library?
Yeah, I'll do library.
Well, I think, so Christy's gonna be involved in it all. Like,
Oh.
whoever reaches out should be,
Oh.
or Christy would like to be involved in everything.
Yeah.
So whoever is reaching out should always either have Christy included or CC
BC,
or something.
whatever it takes, so that we have, one person has all the contact, so nothing gets dropped, nothing gets lost.
It's also kind of a safety mechanism of like, if someone gets hurt, if someone's out of town for the weekend, if there's
Find
2 or
them in
3,
the ER.
if there's 2 or 3 sets of eyes, it's easier to continue that ball rolling.
Yes.
The city gets someone's inbox, so.
But I would take lead on the library too, also,
Kim, do you want
unless you want it.
something?
I would take anything that you think I'm capable of taking at this
Well,
rate. Seriously.
I
She's so
will
bright.
join forces with you for the library.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
There we
We'll
go.
just give you the whole.
If everyone agrees. So the only ones we have open right now, then without anyone, is sewer and water streets waste. So those 2 lines.
Why don't you put my name on both of those,
Yeah, probably.
and put Rover on there too.
But yes, I would like to be, kept in the loop on everything so that we don't lose anything in the cracks. There's been occasion where I've not been very good with my email, but I've got a system set up now that, everything's got a place to go. So,
So is this obviously is a working document, so once.
Yeah, I'll make-
everything-
I'm trying to write in red so it can stand out, and I can edit all of this
Okay.
when we get done tonight, and I'll send it all out to everyone so we have a reference point.
Thank you.
I guess does everyone kind of agree that payroll will be clerk and, Derek?
Derek, yep.
Billing will be Derek and clerk. Agenda, council packets, does anyone feel strongly about that? I can, but if I do, I want to make sure that if I reach out to you for something, that I get that feedback right away. Because from now here until now, I have at least 1 exam every week, if not 2. So, I just don't wanna be rushing until 4 PM the day before it should be posted with people all of a sudden sending me information. But I feel, I have a system set up that minutes would be super simple, and, yeah, I usually take pretty good notes to make sure the agendas are.
Agendas and minutes, you wanna do that? I think that would be awesome.
I mean, if she needs, I need something, I'll think of something beyond it, I don't know. Give you plenty of time if it's
Or
not, you can wait till the next one.
I'll try to get it out to where that process we kind of started, at least like hopefully Wednesday before. That way if there's something that we know of, we can double check on it, we can kind of have more of a finalized draft for Friday. And then everything else is kind of more set in stone. I mean, the concerns from citizens, front office, obviously that's gonna be the people who are here. Access to accounts is kind of important based off of the resolutions that are coming up. If we all agree who has that access. And again, that'll be kind of voted on in further lines, but something to think about. As far as signing checks and then open records, again, will obviously be people who have access to those records here and mayor. I didn't know about, everything I looked at suggested that there should be kind of a zoning administrator.
Cody, you're technically the zoning administrator, right?
Zoning officers, where I
Zoning
sign, this is where I
officers?
sign my name on the building permits.
Okay, so Cody
Let's go with
and,
Cody,
Now, as of now, I'll continue doing the
perfect,
building permits.
cause I'm not,
and I think like our code, the mayor, I can't remember the wording exactly, but you oversee whatever our zoning board, whatever it's called, zoning and planning.
Board of Adjustment.
Board
Board of
of
Adjustments.
Board of
Okay,
Adjustment.
that's the one. So I think you oversee that, so I kinda, that's where my starting point of mayor was, so just Cody and Chrissy will be kind of assumed for that. City seal and authentication, I would assume it's gonna be mayor, city clerk, 'cause both of them have to kind of sign things together. And then, yeah, based on whatever deadlines, projects, stuff like that, you kind of put together, we can delegate those out to everyone else to do.
As far as CDs, I just thought of this, as far as down here, this authentication and city seal, Derek can sign CDs.
He can update them, so to
Well,
speak.
because you have to put them
Right,
out for bid,
right.
and then he can go to the bank and pick them up and bring them back.
Okay.
He cannot sign checks.
Right.
But he's got access to send that ACH file to the bank.
Perfect. That will be that interim thing, be able to take care of that for us.
Anyone else?
Anything else? Anyone else? Okay, there's nothing else on that one. We shouldn't need to.
I'm just gonna make a motion to,
Okay. Do that.
assign, or
I'll make a motion
approve.
to get that, oh, you got it updated and get it sent out.
Yeah.
Cause the names and.
Cody, and you want a second?
Wes got it.
Alright, let's do Wes. Second, Cody and Wes. All in favor? Motion carried. Discussion and action regarding resolution 2026, appointing interim city clerk and establishing duties, authority, and compensation. 2026, I didn't read this in detail. We already know what's gonna cost us pretty much. It's gonna cost us what it costs us, right, Janine?
That's about it.
And obviously, all of this can be amended. I left the name blank, for the compensation section 4. I just put what was discussed at the last meeting, with the $50 per hour and reimbursement for mileage travel.
So right now for the hotel, I asked Laura today if she gave the credit card and she said, no, they just bill the city. So,
And it's gonna be 2 separate bills because the hotel changed hands this
okay.
week.
Then Emil, I'll keep my receipts and turn those in along with the mileage.
What I guess we need to figure out first, are we all in agreement that we're gonna make Janine the interim clerk? Do we need a motion for that?
Is there anything you wanna add from our meeting that we haven't already kind of said is our official recommendation?
I think it was just to continue to support this process of getting everything, where it needs to be, legally, and that will just support, the people who will apply for the job and get them hired for the job. So, so we were thinking, because you have all that expertise, you provided your expertise, that would just make a really seamless kind of transition, moving forward for this interim position.
So do you want me to continue, or do you wanna continue paying me through accounts payable, or do you want me to go on the payroll?
Good
What do you
question.
suggest? Do you have a suggestion?
Do we get the
In
legal?
Lake City, they put me on the payroll only because of liability. If I would tell somebody something and it not prove out, whatever. So,
I would say probably have to be on payroll, just even for our insurance liability.
I think so.
Are you exempt from ICRS then, or will we be paying ICRS?
What
We're paying
happens?
ICRS for you.
Yeah.
I know how,
Yeah, what happens if you don't get paid more than 2 quarters, then you don't have to have IVRS withheld. I've been thinking about that. We don't know how long this will take, especially if you want me to train somebody new. So let's go without
understand that, because I understand diapers
Yeah.
as much as anybody can.
So we'll just let it go without unless they catch it in an audit. And then the city can pay my share and theirs. But when I ask for my refund, which will be my share, then I'll just slide the check back over to the city.
Okay. That sounds like a deal.
And I would not put that in writing.
Right.
No.
I know I had also mentioned in the last meeting, about, working remotely and how much of your support in the interim position could you work remotely?
For some things.
Right, and then other things would be needed that you would be in
Yeah,
office.
So you guys need to decide, do you want me here for the council meeting? Several people have told me when they listen to the playback, it's hard to hear the voices.
It is hard to get voices.
I think, just as a side tangent we won't go down, but I think that on our next agenda, we should highly prioritize setting up the equipment that we purchased.
Yes.
To be able to, we do have our equipment here.
We do have it?
Yes, it's been here for months.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
So if we could get that process rolling, so we're not relying on my own $50 speaker anymore,
Yeah,
that would be really great.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
So do you need Alex to do that?
We need to go back to the table of us and set up exactly where we want it stored and where we want that live stream through, so we can make that decision. The resolution already stands that we're going to do it, and it's very broad in what we can do it with, so once we all agree with how we want to approach that, it's as easy as that next meeting after we agree to that, press and play, and it works.
For the first few months when they didn't have a clerk at Lake City, I was there every other week for their council meeting. Then, once they got the administrator and she felt comfortable, then I just attend by Zoom if I need. And after I look at the agenda, each time I call her and say, do you really want me? And so, I've only attended by Zoom those for the budget and the budget amendment
And we can easily set up, like, even if we don't have the equipment necessarily set up within 1, 2, 3 meetings, we can easily set up Zoom, and we've done that with legal, myself, actually, when I was in Pittsburgh, stuff like that before, so that's really a simple fix.
So, you know, what you, like, when I think about Zoom, I've done so much Zoom in my work that it's like, I don't see it any different sometimes than a person in
Yeah.
here.
Actually
in
sitting,
person.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's more like, what do you feel would be a negative, or what would be a drawback, I should say, about you about you attending only in Zoom?
Well, if I'm gonna be here at some point in time, you know, which I'm gonna have to be, so do you wanna make that?
If you can work it, that
Yes.
we have a meeting and you need to be here sometime, you can work it, that say,
Yeah, especially until you
do
get
both of
somebody.
them, but
Until you get
if you
such
can't,
a-
if you're not gonna be here, don't make a special trip up
Sure.
just for a meeting.
But
Yeah.
I would work normally 2 or 3 days and make sure the bills got out afterwards, and you're gonna do the minutes, so I'm not gonna worry about those, but just the things that you have to do after a council meeting. So,
Clean up a day.
We kind of spoke about, you know, if she's able to come for a couple days before the meeting, whatever meeting we have coming up, getting the bills paid and being able to get us,
a list
the
of
billing
things.
reports that need approved and all of that stuff. So if we can work it that way, it sucks because our meetings are on Mondays, and like to just keep her here through the weekend, just to be here, and she goes garage sailing all summer, so we gotta protect that. So if we can work it that way, but also I think we have to recognize that I don't think we should just set X days that we approve her to be here each month, because I think it's gonna be
Right.
very hands-on heavy the first at least couple weeks, or if not couple months.
Yeah.
Making sure that the people who are here are knowing and feeling supported with what we're asking them to do.
My suggestion maybe is that, when you go home and, let's just, next week is just a normal week. There's nothing special going on, but you still need to work. You can work remotely. But if you feel the need to come, would you email, like, me and Kim, send it to everybody, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just let us know how you feel with what you're doing, so that we can help you help us.
You know, I've got enough things I wanna do in the summer, I'm not gonna sit up here.
Right. You're not gonna sit up here every day and take care of pulled our.
She's got a house in Florida.
For what you've been working on, are you needing more time yet, or are you, so?
And I have a whole list of things, you know, at the end of June, there will be all the quarterly
Okay,
results.
yep, okay.
It'll be the end of the year.
Yes, I'm already ready.
I wanna check with all the varying payroll type connections to make sure we paid everything, because a couple of times, some of it got paid twice, some of it didn't get paid.
Like it should.
Yep, so,
It happens.
so I wanna,
She said go home and work remotely, but you truly keep.
But if you need to be here,
Yeah.
you need to be here. I mean,
and she-
whatever it
she can
is.
for
bring
the
those
first month,
reports for me.
just know it's gonna be trial and error.
Yes.
Yes.
And
bills
then-
that come in,
and then
physically,
yeah.
unless we're seeing
Yeah,
those
yeah,
lines
yeah.
for daily.
And I'm just speaking for myself, I trust your decision making, and I know that you'll make decisions that would benefit, that need to benefit yourself as well as the council, and, you know, whatever that is.
Well,
whatever
and I
that
think
is.
she's honest and forthright enough to say, hey guys, I don't need to be here this week, or,
Exactly.
hey, I do really need to be here this week.
Right.
And I think you're,
And for a little while, I'm probably gonna be here. We wanna get the files set up and, somebody didn't keep good files. That's not Laura. And so we've gotta find all of that, so that when you're audited, we can pull that stuff out and then start fresh with it a different way come July 1. But, so there's just a bunch of things. Derek has been very good about helping, and,
He's digging in.
I think
He's
he will
digging
be.
in a little.
he's doing really well.
Yes,
I really-
he's
he's
got
got,
an interest, and
he's got a lot of potential.
He does,
I
he
hope
hasn't
so.
had a lot of training.
He hasn't decided
Right.
how far he wants to go,
Yes.
because his private time to him is more important than,
And you know what? That's the way
that's
it is.
everybody's
I've got-
priority, they can do whatever they
Yeah.
want.
I've got
I mean,
things
within-
that I prioritize too.
Okay, so if everyone has kind of read through this and agree, and you're comfortable with the rate that you viewed at the last meeting, then, I would make a motion to approve, I don't know your last name, Douglas? Okay. Janon Douglas as the interim city clerk, and approve resolution 2026 with the amendment of her name.
I second it.
All right, we are going to have to do a roll call. Van Don.
Aye.
DeWall.
Aye.
Klein.
Yes.
Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Here's this one.
Pardon me?
I said, here's this one if you want.
Yeah, let's do the
2021 or 2020?
20.
20 and 2026.
I had originally put 2025 on all my dates, and I have no idea why, but I think I fixed them. The next one is just kind of a continuation of that with establishing signatories, banking authority. I had hoped that someone with more experience than me would make sure that this is all what it's supposed to say. And some copies I looked at of previous similar situations had the city treasurer listed and some did not, and I wanna make sure that we get the information that's needed there so that we don't step over any.
He can sign CDs.
Cause and then the way that it had some of them listed is that they were a signatory and they had access to communicate and get the things from the bank that they need, and then some, they just weren't on there at all, so I didn't know.
He can get what he needs from the bank to balance it. The only thing is that separation of powers, he cannot sign checks.
Correct, so I think the first highlight, he should probably be removed, and the second highlight, he should be there.
That's how I thought too.
So, can we make sure that I have authorization to get any information I need from the bank? I just don't wanna sign checks, it's
Well,
on
it
there
says
like that.
interim city clerk,
Okay.
and that's who you are going to be, correct?
Really? Yeah.
So,
So
I
you
have
don't
to
wanna
tell-
be
I have
She
to
doesn't
tell-
wanna sign.
so we should take her off of section
I
one.
mean, if you want me to sign, I can, but, I would just assume you guys signed and approved the checks.
So
You may want me on there so that if nobody's available,
that's what my thought was at least you're on there, but the preference of the workflow can be something
Right.
else.
okay,
So you wanna leave her in that section one then, just in case? Okay.
I just, in the code, it says the treasurer can sign checks.
That's what I saw too, so that's why I put it in there.
Nick,
I'm not saying he
I
does,
know.
or
We
he
can,
should.
we can leave it in there as per our code, and again, he's not going to, our
if he
protocol
doesn't
would not
want
be
to,
it.
that's fine.
that's
I get it.
great. I mean, I understand from his point of view also that if he doesn't feel comfortable doing that, I will
I had
gladly.
questioned that in the code before, and I questioned it too, and I think I questioned him about it.
Yeah.
Christina, so only 3 people there are designated as signatories, so at one point you said you wanted a second person if you sign checks, do you wanna add somebody else?
What I would like to do is, if I'm going to sign a check, I want it passed off to someone else to initial. It doesn't have to be 2 signatures, but even Derek can go through things and just initial. That's all I'm asking is that,
actually, your claims list, if you guys signed the claims list, then
that's enough of a second signature.
and
That's why I get those 4 copies every time.
I can have a copy of the bills laying there, so if you've got a question about a particular bill, we can look at it.
That's the thing going forward, none of that should be paid unless we approve it, so you're already gonna get the approval, and then you'll just put your name formally.
Right,
Well, with the exception of,
There's a
What's
few
listed in our
things-
resolution,
There's
yeah.
a few things in resolution that say that, they can be paid ahead of time.
Yeah. so anything you're gonna get a penalty on.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly,
Is that,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, is that something, say, if you are called in to sign a check that's not during a council meeting, is that sometime you would want a second signature, you know, cause.
And here again, I'm gonna say it every single time, just that if I sign it, I want someone else to put their initials on it, and it can even be Derek, that
Yeah.
he and I discuss it. I say, this is what we're paying, this is the paperwork, and all he has to do is initial behind my signature.
That you witness.
That's
It's really a witness section,
Yeah,
so it's not a
basically a witness.
signatory, he doesn't need to
Right.
be named formally, it's just.
correct. I just want someone else to know what I did.
It's notarized, informally notarized.
Yeah. Basically, I do that in my regular day job, and, anything that gets signed gets discussed and other initials also. So that's what I would, even if it is just Derek, I hate to say just Derek, but he will know what's going on. Okay, so resolution 2026,
Does that cover both banks?
it shouldn't it?
I didn't
We
name
only
any,
have-
I
We
said,
only have one bank.
I thought you had money in it.
we have 3 institutions on our
Where-
resolution.
But we don't, we do have money now all of a sudden at Avila that you guys are gonna have to figure out what you wanna do with, but everything else is at Pokey State.
So we'll need
But the
to-
resolution doesn't name anything specifically, it just says all accounts.
Okay,
So.
so we'll need to sign new cards at Avila.
At Avila, and then I'll
Pokey
need to
State.
sign at Pokey State also, cause I
I've
have.
got the Pokey State one on my
Do you?
desk.
Okay, I can do that before I leave tonight. Okay, this resolution, do we want to motion to approve it?
I'll
stuff we already just chit-chatted about as far as what our recommendation
Possible
was.
action regarding city clerk recruitment and hiring process?
Yes.
Sorry, I thought you had already said that. My bad. I didn't mean to jump it down.
It's okay, I do it all the
Was
time.
checking was watch over here. I was on pins and needles.
Yes, we have basically discussed that already. I would like to say, even with Brandy here, that, we did discuss the other night that everyone who has applied will be asked to reapply if they so choose. And we're gonna start this hiring process from square one and do it correctly with everyone involved that needs to be involved. But I don't think we need any action on that, do we? Or do you
We
want
need
it?
to approve that everyone agrees to the wording of this job posting to publish where we said we're gonna publish it. And then, just to clarify a few things and kind of further discussion, Laura had gave us a job description at our last meeting. I used that exact job description and added things directly from our code and cited the code in industry references. I did not change, we as a committee didn't change any of the job duties that the clerk is going to be looking to do, or that we're looking for the clerk to do. Everything is either expanded upon based off the wording of our code, or was already in the job description that was handed to us. So none of that changed the job in and of itself. And then the job posting basically summarizes that job description in the capacity, and is obviously just a very brief overview. We discussed as a committee to publish it in the Record Democrat, our website and social media platforms, the IAMU, the League of Cities, free postings on LinkedIn, Indeed, and Government Jobs of Iowa, or under the Iowa subsection of Government Jobs. That would be our recommendation.
So this will not make next week's paper, but I can send it for the next one.
Right.
Okay, but I can still put it on social, all that, yeah.
And I assume the application that you have is a standardized, the bifold thing that we got.
Yeah.
So really, I guess,
I'll make a motion to approve this.
for the job posting, get it
Approve
rolling.
the job posting, there you go. Cody and Wes.
How long are you gonna run the ad?
Until we get a qualified applicant.
Well, I don't wanna say applicant, cause they're all technically qualified applicants. The applicant itself is, or the application
Okay,
itself
yes,
makes them
Okay.
qualified for that.
okay.
Until we, begin the interview process, maybe. Is that where we wanna start?
Do you wanna tell them, did they print every week?
Yes.
Do you wanna tell them just to do it for 3 weeks and then we'll let them know again?
That's what I did last time.
They would be more than happy to work with us that way.
Yeah, they'll work with it.
We keep in pretty close contact, so
Yeah.
if we start getting, 5, 10 rolling in, we'll be like, hey, pause it, and if we go through it and we go through the process and no one comes out, we can say, oh, throw her back in.
So what's a more politically correct way to say that? So as we're looking at the skills, one of the things we talked about is, that really strong financial
Background.
And so what's a good political way to say that? If when I, so
Instead
when,
of applicant,
like when I say qualified applicant, what's a better PR way to say that? I don't know. With the, an
Experience.
applicant with their,
Until we get a preferred candidate, maybe? Because based on our qualifications section, it says, strong organizational communication, record keeping, financial management skills required. So, I mean, in that sense of the word, qualified is still the appropriate word, because we're saying that those things are required. And we're also suggesting that they need to be able to do more than just submit an application, and they need to be able to do a background check, drug screen, and have that background. So really, you're maybe looking at completed applicant and qualified applicant instead of qualified and qualified. Somebody can have a completed application and still not be qualified.
Right.
Yes, and I guess that's what I was kinda getting at.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And
Thank
some
you.
places want the application and the resume and the cover letter, not just resume and cover letter. So you gotta make sure all three,
The other thing,
usually.
I didn't look close enough, I guess, at this earlier, but they need to be proficient in Word and Excel.
Yeah, I thought that was, that might,
At
in
least
there?
in this help wanted, it's not there.
You could almost say Microsoft Office application.
I thought I saw it generally, maybe it wasn't specific enough.
You won't use PowerPoint much, but you use Word and Excel for sure.
PowerPoint gets used more and more.
I guess it's maybe assumed in your bookkeeping and organizational skills and stuff like that, but
Yeah. That's
Um,
A lot of people today have at least a basic knowledge.
I can't imagine. That was the era I grew up in though,
I mean-
and so I'm like, I can't imagine that.
Oh, there's a whole bunch that don't.
Yeah, well, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Make a spreadsheet.
I can certainly add in.
I personally think that's something important to add in specifically.
Because almost all of your state reports are in Excel.
Yeah.
The new software if you approve it tonight, that you're getting is going to require Excel for some things.
Yeah.
You wanna be sure that they can type up the minutes with good grammar and spell check and all of that.
And I think, good grammar and stuff like that, that definitely falls into strong communication
Yes.
skills, you know, so, but I can add specifically Office Suite.
Yeah, I think you want it in there.
Did somebody already approve, we already made motions on this?
I'll, approve.
You
Cody?
amend your
I'll
motion?
amend- I will amend my motion to
Include.
to include those amendments to the job listing.
I will second that again.
Okay.
You're just on a roll tonight.
Yeah.
It's his favorite thing to do recently. I love it.
All in favor?
Yep,
Motion carried.
Everything else should be very quick.
I hope so. I hope so. Okay, resolution regarding the adopting of the Cassell Civic software conversion. As we talked the other night, that is probably going to be what we're gonna end up having to go with. I shouldn't say having, we have other choices, but, this one seemed to be our best choice. So, approval of resolution 22-2026. We need a motion.
You were talking about the other parts of this. What is that called?
That is the civic portion, so Cassell is,
Civic Plus is not part of it. I called the sales rep the next day,
Oh,
and they're two totally separate companies.
Oh, are they?
They are. One is located out of Utah, one is located out of Kentucky. And the gentleman from, Cassell or Civic said they get phone calls all the time.
I'm telling you, if you look up civic municipal software, there's like 4 different companies that come up with the exact same. Their logo is just slightly different.
So Civic is the one you were,
I was looking at civic.
Cassell is the program. Civic is what you were,
Cassell is
Civic
under
Plus.
a civics company, but Civic Plus is apparently something completely separate.
Yeah.
And Civic Plus was the stuff I had
Civic
researched.
Plus is what you, but Civic Plus does not have,
They don't have software.
don't have cap.
They just have something for minutes and
They don't have a
No.
software like.
not an accounting package.
Did you said you talked to both or to your side of that company? Did they say that they could talk to each other at all, do you know?
I think eventually,
Okay.
probably can, but it's not part of it.
Right, they're not integrated.
Nope.
Yeah.
So if we go with Cassell and take Civic off of here?
That's all we have.
Cassell is still part of Civic.
Yeah. Civic Plus is the separate
They're
company,
two
so
separate-
you're okay with
there's
it.
We're
two-
okay with this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
I misunderstood.
Civic Plus is a different company.
Yes.
Civic is-
Yeah.
Okay.
And they offer more records management.
Yeah, more of your, code, you know.
So we can adopt this the way it reads?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody want a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 22, 2026, for the approval of the Casell Civic software.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We're gonna do roll call. Van Dam,
Aye.
Klein,
Aye.
DeWall, Harrison.
Aye.
All in favor? Our motion passed.
That might
Your
require
resolution.
my being here more than
Sure.
some things to help get it set up, to help learn it, for sure.
When are they even thinking they could,
I'm sorry?
like, even, when it would start?
Yeah. He said, they would try and get it going at least by 3 months. He's hoping that they'll get it going before then. They don't make any commitments until they've received the signed contract and a check.
And a check.
And a check. Yeah, you betcha.
So, can I issue the check before your next meeting so that we can get going? The mayor can sign it, but can I issue it and we get it going, or do you, because you've now approved buying it. So,
We didn't even talk on this.
Do we know how much that check is gonna have to be?
48,000.
well, that's the whole.
Oh, yeah,
That's the whole
The whole thing.
So
50%,
50%, 24 down?
Yep, which is in there. We have it in there.
So, you know, because it's gonna start whenever they get that resolution and I think they have to send a contract back, or maybe a proposal we
I
sent
think
has a
so,
contract in it.
probably have
I don't
some.
remember, but anyway,
And it's, just a reminder for everyone, that it's still, even at 48,000, it's gonna be saving us money,
Big time.
as opposed to, what, 36 that we're paying, plus another 30 plus for the
Who
cloud
knows, yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
so this is still.
They're forcing you on the cloud, but they haven't set the
Do
price.
you think we will have, where did you say you were at for getting everything balanced? We'll be up to date probably by, so.
Yeah. and then we'll go through and figure out, are there some account numbers that can be combined? Are there some, and one of the things I wanna do with you guys is figure out some of the funds, because my understanding is you don't know what they are, I don't know what they are. What are we gonna do with them?
Get them bookmarked to a
We
project.
discussed kind of planning for budget season much earlier, so that we can have these conversations, know where numbers really are, and then start having those discussions with the departments.
Yeah, because your capital equipment and capital improvement, why have two separate ones? Why not put it together and say, better than this, but for future things?
Some of our funds, we need to get bookmarked for,
Yes.
Yeah.
so we,
Earmarked
Yes.
for certain
for
projects.
certain projects
Yep.
before the state
So-
says.
And there needs to be notes as to, for future
Yeah.
reference.
So at some point in time, I'm gonna ask you if we can't do a workshop, so that, because you don't wanna do that in a meeting.
No.
Right.
And if
Right.
we can do a workshop and get that kinda straightened out.
We really just need to do a full comprehensive plan
Yes,
to,
we do.
to figure
Yes,
out
we
what
do.
our immediate needs and what our long-term goals for the city are.
But how do we do that?
Well, no, in a workshop, and the league is very suggestive of them coming down and helping lead kind of some, visioning.
They would help us.
Visioning
That's how you do it.
plans,
Yes.
Is the
yeah,
leader.
yeah.
And there's always college kids that need it for extra credit.
Yep.
If
I
they
know.
Or a senior
Yeah.
project.
The school has also offered to help, because they went through a lot of visioning, discussions about what they want the school district and the graduate of PAC to look like too, so we have local resources that would be happy to help
That's
us out
part of
through
the
that
STEM
process.
committee that I'm on.
Okay, are we done with that one?
I think so.
Discussion and action regarding shelter house bid for invitation and publication timeline. You put that together.
Cody took a look at it. We did make one amendment from the one that you have in your hands. I didn't get here to change that out for you in time today. Cody's suggestion was to be a little more specific under 2.6 for walls and windbreak. And all I did was change, the second bullet point would now read, wall cladding shall consist of steel panel on both the exterior and interior faces, providing a fully finished appearance on both sides of each wall.
Can you send me a copy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that fulfill? Okay.
Reads much better.
So we need a publication timeline. We need to figure out the timeline that we need for getting this done.
Where are we publishing it? Just paper?
One, I think you have to put it in the league, in
Yeah,
our,
we have to put
the
it in the
league
league.
magazine.
Cityscape.
There's a place there just for bids, for whatever project, that way. Anybody can bid on it, where if you just publish it in the local paper, then it's only known for people around here, but we can,
What if that's what you're wanting, is to go local first?
you get to choose who you want.
In the
In the end.
in the end, you
So-
still
so
choose.
my numbers aren't realistic, but say that the local guy said 25,000 and somebody from Minnesota said 20,000. If you can give a good reason to take the 25, you are allowed to do that.
Right.
You just have to have a good reason. But, yeah,
We also mentioned at one point, if we weren't getting much traction or even just initially sending it out to the resource you had sent with, contractors that are insured and licensed by the state, is that the appropriate?
Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to be, any contractor in the state is supposed to be insured and licensed.
Yes.
I just mean, that is the list of local insured and licensed contractors.
And I can happily distribute the document to the people on the list if you guys want me to do so. And make sure it gets out that way too.
before you accept any contract, you make them prove that they have the
Mhm.
insurance.
The
And that's on
liability
here
insurance.
that they need to attach
And
that.
they usually do. I mean, those are the done.
But somebody can put yes on it and not give you the documentation, and so you want it.
My question is, what about the license? Because you read through it and not everybody is licensed. It's the law.
It
I just-
Yeah. Well, we're just gonna have to weed out the ones that aren't. I mean, we're gonna have to go through it and
Sure.
figure it out.
True. Yeah, you just go onto the
Yeah,
website, look it
yeah.
up and.
And that's a very good point, though, in that we need to do due diligence to make sure that everybody is licensed, is insured, is able to do the
This
job.
last line here,
I put you to section 4. I put bid submission requirements, so
So it is on.
submitted as sealed bid should include the following: the completed form, certificate of insurance, copy of current Iowa contractor license, any comparable completed projects, a sketch or plan, description of how they're going to, or how it could be accommodated in the future. And that work needs to be at least started, if not completed, by October 15th, based off the date we had decided in that discussion. And then a name and license information for anyone they're gonna subcontract for like electricals.
and so, at the last page there where it said bidder information, and it says Iowa contractor license, would that be the
Yeah,
same thing, right?
that is, yeah.
Okay. So if it's not there, we. Never mind.
I think
I
to
did
have
toss
an
that
Iowa,
out.
I think pretty much to have an Iowa contractor license, you have to be insured.
Got it.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They call and then they'll take you off the list right away if you don't get your insurance updated.
Sure. Okay, Nicole, you're gonna handle getting that sent out.
Yeah, I certainly can, and if you want me to send it to the Record Democrat, or if you have time to do that, I can. Okay.
If you give me a friend, good copy.
And the league,
Well, what are we gonna,
What do you wanna put in the lead?
what are you gonna put in the record Democrat? You're
I
not,
was gonna say,
no, yeah, it needs to be
or
a condensed version.
a
of what we
condensed
just
version that
approved.
says, you know, you can pick up the full thing
There
at
you
the.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, just come to City Hall.
looking,
I'll draft up just a little square that says the city, I think one of our local cities just had one in the paper last week, is like, the city of Pocahontas is looking for invitations for bids for a shelter house, please see City Hall or
Yep.
contact City Hall for specifications.
Now, just clarification, or your last day in office is tomorrow? Okay, I'm a little worried with you saying, I'll do it, when I think if I check my calendar, it's Thursday. And so,
That's only
so that gives you a
one
day,
working day
so I
left.
just want you to be realistic.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean, and if you can't, then we can do that,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah, those are just,
And I'll
just
make
just
sure-
emails.
I'll make sure
Okay.
it's all updated,
Okay.
and let you know if I didn't get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause you never know, the day could fall apart.
Yeah.
So do we wanna nail down when we're closing, when we're saying we're closing?
What's our
it?
closing
well,
date?
when's our next
June.
next meeting, what's our meeting,
June 15th,
what's after that?
that
June
was into
5th.
July 5th. Then you're into new budget and everything. So the 15th is gonna be a big meeting. Or you're gonna have to have another special.
Well, and we won't, this will have been published for, this won't have even been published by the 15th.
The 19th? Is that
Is that July?
July? No, it's the 20th,
Cause we won't,
you go all the way to August.
this won't go out until June 16th. In, like, as far as the Record Democrat specifically, we can get the emails out tomorrow, but, I think, originally we said it was done June 30th. Back when we were hoping to have published it before June 1st, but we could tentatively say June 30th and hopefully have it be part of our July 6th meeting to approve and unseal the bids.
If you went to the 20th, that would give them about a month when it comes out in the paper.
You're saying until July 20th?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. You could say bids due July 10th, that way you have a couple days if people straggle in or whatever to include
That's
everything.
not allowed
I was,
on a
I'd say
bid.
you can drop it off Monday morning.
Yeah.
It's,
They can drop it off
I
up
mean,
to a minute before the meeting, or a minute before the cutoff.
So we're saying July 20th.
yeah,
I think so.
that would be.
at 4:30.
If anyone is not from here and mailing their
Well,
bids in, are we saying they're postmarked by July 20th? Are we saying that's why I said if you postmark
If
it.
they really are serious about wanting
They'll
to
get
bid,
here.
they will be here.
Sure.
so are we going to decide that night in the meeting? Because,
You usually don't do that in a meeting. It's usually done in.
I mean, cause you're gonna have to check to see,
You're gonna have to open them and.
to check to make sure they're all insured, their insurance is good and their license is
Yeah.
good.
Cause you can't open them until you say you're
Until
going
right
to
then
open
and
them.
there.
So you're gonna do sealed bids?
Do we have to do sealed bids?
No, but if somebody comes in, if you submit a bid
They can come
and
in
your
and ask.
competitor comes in and wants to see it,
See it.
Yes, yes. I
And
would
then they
rather
can
do
underbid you
sealed
by
bids.
$1.
If we do a sealed bid, it has to be opened in a meeting.
yes.
Yes.
And I think on there it says that you have to write over the seal. So,
And we can open them, look at them, but you do not have to make a decision
That's,
at that time.
you just open them, you read them off.
Right.
I will also say that us having in there that work should be started, if not completed, by October 15th.
Maybe move it up to the next meeting.
I would hope that I would say, I'd rather us publish it for 2 weeks and get 5 bids than publish it for a month and get 15 bids, but we're lost 6 weeks that they've been working on the project.
Right.
I would say go back to the
6.
6th.
Does that work for everybody?
That can be in your little square that you're put in the paper, the condensed
Oh, the
version.
deadline? Yeah, I'll put the deadline in.
Do we need to do a motion on that?
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to approve this invite for bids for the shelter house.
Cody, anybody second?
I'll second.
Wes? All in favor?
I become a third speaker.
You might, oh.
It's
Yeah.
it's not me.
Somebody called me.
Okay. All right, moving on. Update discussion regarding completion of ME1 and EIA 86-1 utility reports.
ME1 has been sent. EIA 861 is Craig's. That's his part of it.
That's his part of it?
He takes numbers from one and they go in the other, and it's all been sent to Jeff Gorey, as far as I know. So it's a matter of just hearing back from him now.
So that's just the update, and we don't need to do anything about that.
So as far as we're concerned going forward, we don't need to be concerned with that anymore because it's all dealt with.
Done.
Got it done.
And, Derek and I we found the old spreadsheets, and so I asked Derek to set up a new one with the
Very good.
same thing that's on the old one, and then we're gonna find the billing registers and get the information and fill it in since,
I have them all scanned and
so that, we don't have to go through this next
Okay.
time, it'll all be there.
Yeah.
But there was a very good spreadsheet set up, and so we could just use that.
Good. Update and discussion regarding the pool floor project contractor follow-up.
He's coming up tomorrow morning and going to look at it. He's gonna try and be here when Maddie's here. And with it going into the weekend, he can work nights if the pool is open to do what we hope, we want done.
As long as Maddie's there, I guess, but do we need anybody else there?
You're on this weekend.
Kim, will you be around if,
Yeah.
we can have Maddie, get a hold of either one of you guys? She'd be happy to do that, I think. I think it would be nice to have a council member there.
Were you able to, and again, with the sequence of who does what, I talked to him yesterday, were you able to talk to Dave about that manhole?
Yes.
Okay, and
He's gonna go down and look at it. They didn't open today, or they
Okay.
didn't open very long, I don't think,
Oh,
with the
sure,
weather.
okay,
So,
got it, okay.
Does Dave know he's coming tomorrow?
who the,
Is Dave one of the
Floor
guys?
guy?
Yeah.
I might not have told him yet. He knows he's coming back, but I.
Yeah, I mean, just let him know.
I can't, yeah.
I see Janon's got, business cards here. Does anybody want one?
Yes, please.
I'll let you take one and pass it around.
Thank you.
Do you need one or do you?
This was the end of them, I've gotta refill my container.
I've got a couple if you need them.
Okay, are we ready to adjourn?
No.
No, one more thing. All right, one more thing.
Okay. This will involve two different things. I'm assuming all of you know there's been complications with the jail utility bill. Okay.
Hold on.
Boy, do I know there has been. Boy, do I know it. This isn't on the agenda, so I'm not sure how much we can discuss it.
Well, we can discuss it, you just can't take any action.
Okay.
So, and I knew that. You have, let's see, 8 or 10, 12, you have more than 12 rate tables for water. With different minimum charges, with different usage charges.
Different size pipe, different size, but they're not in sync with each other.
Yeah, now, when you redid your sewer, you made everybody's the same rate for the usage. And that's really what we need to do with the water. there is a government rate table, and there is a commercial rate table for a 3-inch meter, which is what they have at the jail. Okay, and for a while they were being billed with a multiplier of 100, so if it showed they used 100 gallons, that was 10,000. Because you put 2 zeros on the end of it. Okay. Found out when we had Dakota Supply here Monday, that that is a multiplier of 10. So if they had 100, it was 1,000 gallons. Gotcha. So the guy verified all that. I thought I had it set up correctly, and Laura and I calculated what we thought the jail's new bill would be. Didn't realize, again, that there's a government rate and there's a commercial rate.
Residential.
I just assumed, and you know what happens when you do that, that it would be the commercial rate. I don't know why there's a government rate. To me, that's
Almost
it costs the city the same thing, whether whoever it is. So maybe if you want this at the next meeting, we could put it on the agenda to change these water bills and make the usage all the same, and then decide, well, do you need a government category and commercial? There's no reason that a town would have 12 rate tables for water. Just none. And so,
That's part of what's causing all the.
so I thought we had the jail's bill calculated correctly, because I didn't look at the rate tables. I assumed it was a commercial rate, and I calculated their bill at that. So, do I go back and redo it as a government rate? And who did the council at whatever time determine what was the government rate? Is that the school, the post office, the fire, the?
Yeah, who gets the government rate?
Yeah,
no
to me,
idea.
it's a silly thing.
Yeah.
So, can we put the water ordinances on the next agenda? And,
Absolutely.
and
I
we'll
think
do
that's
this,
a really
and
good
then,
idea.
Can
and
we
then, I don't know what
clarify
I,
with Simran and Corey where they're at on the
Yeah.
codification situation? If
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, I can I can send Justin.
I don't know what I do about the jail. Right now, I calculated it at a higher rate than what somebody sent her a rate table for.
And it's gonna
Right.
change the rate
And
again.
so,
What about water rate increases?
I think we need to have it, well, per our code, we can only do any rate
You know,
increase.
you can do them anytime you want.
Our code says rates can only go into effect on July 1st.
I've looked that up and double checked it. They can be changed anytime.
And that's a rule for us, but we're tied to what our actual code of ordinances said, and our code of ordinance says right now that rates increase can only
if
go into
we're
effect on
going,
July.
if we're gonna change the rate tables, because that has to be done by ordinance, then that's a good time to change
The rate.
that all utility rates can be increased as needed, because in some cities, the garbage had to go up in January because they were getting higher landfill fees and stuff. So you really want I think, you want your ordinance to say as needed. And you could put in there, but this isn't good wording, but hopefully once a year.
I'll add right now that I think that this discussion is a little bit too much to continue without the city having an aware notice to be here representative on a discussion that there's gonna be a lot of feelings about for the city. And so we can definitely continue this discussion in the next meeting, but I think it's gonna be a long process, and I think we owe this to our citizens that we're probably not gonna be able to make any decisions before July 1st per our ordinance right
Right.
now, but that we can look at that after July 1st and wherever the codification is in that process to update whatever needs to be updated at that time. But we can have that discussion at a further meeting.
We lose the money, we would do something.
Yeah.
We gotta do something.
Again,
We do.
what do I do about the jail?
I mean, it's went on for 8 months at this point, so I don't know, it needs to be,
Well, but it got adjusted every month. And
Yeah, it's.
well, we
it's
can't
a-
make any decisions right now anyway.
No, we
So-
can't. We can't make a decision.
well, can I make an executive one then and just
Yep.
do what I think I need to
We still need a motion and a,
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Nicole and Wes, all in favor?
Uh,
Aye.